All right, we're live. Just for the moment, we're going to just give y'all a little bit of something to vibe to while we're preparing to take y'all off. I'll be right back. All right, we're live. Just for the moment, we're going to just give y'all a little bit of something to vibe to while we're preparing to take y'all off. I'll be right back. All right, we're live. Just for a moment. Just give you a little bit of something to vibe to while we're preparing to take y'all off. I'll be right back. All right, we're live. Well, I guess that's how I have to handle that. Thank you for coming, Dion. That was not exactly what I expected. I have to be quite honest. I just came here a little early so that we can give a chance to some people to come in if they want to come in and join us.
Yes, hello. You had like a huge sound problem. I just cut on my audio because I cut everything off on mute to hear this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was trying to play some music for everybody while it was waiting, but it did not go as planned. It did not work out well, I have to say. It did not work out well.
I mean, I
And,
had to cut my phone off and everything. I mean, the
and then
volume,
it kept
the mute.
looping.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was. I should not have been looping. Ah, this is going to be an interesting discussion. We have another very, very big week. Seems that oh boy. I'm going I don't I want to play this. You know what? Here's how I'm gonna do this. While we're waiting, this just came up. I want to see what this is. I'm gonna share it while we're waiting, because why not? I don't know what it is. I'm
Begin with the massive No Kings protests that
What is
started
happening?
yesterday
Oh,
in advance of Trump's military parade. Thousands of protests, peaceful protests, were held in big cities
okay. This
in
doesn't seem to be
in
anything
all 50
What are you trying to do?
important. Um, it doesn't seem to. Okay, my Google's acting up. That's the problem. As long as we're live, I want to make sure that we're still live because I know people were coming in. I need to make sure that I didn't lose my live stream. I mean, it says we're still streaming on here, and we have such a big day and so much to talk about. And I know that this is going to be one of our biggest lives ever because we're
Oh,
covering
it's
so
okay.
many incredible events that are currently taking place that we're actually here to get to report on. And I just don't want to know that this is going to be one of our biggest lives. All right, so there's only one person watching right now. We had 80. I had to cut it off and back on, and I lost a lot of people, but that's fine. I know more will be back. Let me just communicate to my team. Oh, we had 100 people in when I had to start over. Wait, are you still there? Why did this come out? My computer just did that. I might have did that. Let's quit that. Tion, you still with me? Because
Yes, I'm still here. I couldn't believe when you said that Elon punched Scott Bissett punched Elon Musk. Like, that's news to me.
yeah, there's a couple of interesting things that have transpired in the world of Donald Trump as of recent, to be quite frank.
Wow, it's like 6 or 7 days ago. Interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you just found it, huh? You
Yeah.
know what's funny? I do recall when this originally happened, talking about his black eye and telling you a cabinet member did that, and it was based on inductive reasoning. The facts on the table being Elon was lying, his 5 year old didn't do it. Trump said he didn't notice it. That means he was covering something up because there was no way he didn't notice a shining on his man's eye standing right next to him. If
Well,
you walked in
this
the
is
room like
why.
that, I'd have been like, yo, you want to get them dudes? Throw a steak on that. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, this is why I wish you would share your screen this information because I just took it at face value of what was said. And I just kept moving, and then of course the world turned and all things were happening. But I didn't see any of these articles Me in my realm anyway. So
All right. He said send him the link. How do I do that? Where is the link? Why don't I see? Because I had to stop and it started, so he has to start over. He needs the link. And I can't find the link. Here we go. And I'm going to be right back. Perhaps you will keep everybody entertained for 2 minutes until I can put this little one to bed, and then I'm back permanently. Could you get that? Sorry, no pressure. All right. Oh, let me turn my microphone.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. YMCA. Father's Day. YMCA. Father's Day. So tonight's gonna be very interesting as always in the Trump realm. Shout out to my Aunt Debbie for hopefully she watched this episode for the birthday card that I got for June 12th. I don't think it's gonna come into focus here. Let's see. Anyway, nice little birthday card. You know, Uncle Trump's birthday was on Saturday, yesterday. So happy birthday, Geminis. It's Gemini season, as they say. And here comes the sexy. So tonight we start our usual episode. It's my aunt right now. Shout out to our Debbie. Whoops. 9 p.m. is when we're going to start. But we're getting here early, family. Because like I was raised, early is on time is late, and late is late. So this is going to be another exciting episode. The Think Tank. Buckle up. Hopefully, I can persuade you viewers to, like Uncle Trump. Maybe not call him Uncle Trump. Maybe not wear the red hat, but still keep an open mind. Like, hey, the media is not telling you all the information you should have in a factual manner. But all politics is local. As we wait for Leo to come back, we have a 14-minute start time. So I'm going to go check my notes so that way I can have my intelligent responses ready for all of you.
It's funny. Generally speaking, Mr. Powell is quite loquacious. When I
What's that?
don't want him to talk and I want him to keep his answers short, he can go on for an hour.
I can
I'm
pontificate.
like, keep people occupied for 5 minutes. In 3 minutes, he's out of breath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't like the sound of my own voice, whether hearing it or saying it.
Actually, I like your voice better than mine. No
Yeah.
homo, no Diddy.
No. Let's look up
Now
this word,
I was
family.
listening to you. I was editing earlier. I'm like, you get a little timber in his voice. All right.
I'm trying to look up the word for our fans of loquacious. How do you spell that? Loquacious.
Means
Vocabulary
talk
word.
a lot. It means talk a lot. I
Mm.
was a rapper, so I had a vocabulary. That's kind of what that was.
Spectacular vernacular, huh? Mm.
Absolutely. So when I have to be, I mean, I was always when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of confidence. So
Loquacious, yes. Tending to talk a great deal. Talkative.
most Geminis are. I learned the word because it described myself. 100%. Like that. So I'm not throwing insults. I mean, if you insulted that I use the word that I use to describe myself, you can be insulted. I don't know how to take that. Take that. Like, all right, nah. But we're gonna really get into this tonight. I don't want to get started. I don't want to go too deep
We're too early right now.
before 9 o'clock. That's why I'm trying to keep it light. I'm trying to keep it hearty. But the world is going crazy, so we're gonna have a lot to talk about, ladies.
I'm sure that world is going to figure out a way to make you think that it's Donald Trump's fault. When in actuality, in the great scheme of things, he inherited this mess as the cliche goes, every administration, and he can actually say that.
We will talk about that in great detail. It's not going to take much talking. We will let the audience decide as we always do. I love it when people come on board and they subscribe and they become part of the free thinkers where we can look at things objectively and draw our own conclusions rather than being told what to think. That's kind of like why I really wanted to start this family here, because I hear things from both sides and I scratch my head. I listen to Fox News and I get mad. The Midas Touch, my favorite show to listen to, sucks. You know who I do like? I like their affiliates. The law, it's not coming to me, but they break down the law. Oh my, I'm gonna plug them. They break down.
I know, search it. Come on, man, get on the internet. Ask Google
I,
if it would allow you to tell the truth for a change, but I don't think Google's going
these
to
dudes,
help
they
you.
don't. They're not one sided at all. Well, you know what? They're against Trump. I can't say that. They're down with the Midas Touch.
Lorraine,
They are biased, but they give a legal breakdown and it just straight be boom. This is the law. This is what it says. This is how it's interpreted. And I respect that. I love that because I'm not a law student. Like I hear mumbo jumbo articles and I'm like, my head start to hurt. It's like math for some people. I ain't gonna say I was always like that with math. When I was in high school, I hated math. When I got to college, I loved it. It was weird. But with law, it's like that. It's like, yo, they start talking about legal challenges and like now I have to understand that it's not a decision the court makes. The proper term would be an opinion. Well, so basically, when a judge looks at it, what they're saying is this is how we feel it's interpreted. When they look at the law, they give an opinion. They don't give a definitive statement. That's why somebody else can look at it and critical thinking. Now I understand. That's why another judge can look at it and give a different opinion or interpret it differently because it's only an opinion. This is their opinion. That's what the judges like. I'm learning this. I'm like, yo, and like they want to stay something. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, where was it going? But a stay means that, stay put where you at until we figure this out. So, like, boom. An injunction is a decision. That's when they give an opinion. So they can give a temporary injunction. They can give an opinion on how they feel at the moment. And another judge in the appeals court can stay that opinion, which means they could, hold up, don't act on it yet. Stay put. Let us finish this. Like, so I'm learning all of this and I'm listening to legal breakdowns and interpretations and legal jargon. What do they call that? Legalese.
yes.
And I'm learning a lot from these guys. I love listening to them.
Then who are they?
Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to look that up. Now you're trying to tell me to work.
I think
I turn my phone on. The first thing I do is see people fighting at the game. Who are they? They China wins again. China outsmarts America again. London deal exposed. Oh,
Yes,
we're gonna have. I don't. It's not on the thing for tonight, but that's not good.
what?
London and China working together. China talking about giving strict warnings to the United States about the way they invaded. Oh man. Oh, this is scary stuff. This is actually pretty scary.
Wasn't Donald Trump's fault.
G7 leaders shocked by Canada's outrage. Man, so much we're going to talk about on Thursday. On Wednesday, we don't even got it. Like, yo, this is happening. Fourth strike Iranian ballistic missiles. What the? Yo, not Donald Trump's fault. DOJ abuse. Where is it? This is probably them here. It's Legal AF. Legal AF. They're affiliates of the Midas Touch, which is the biggest Democrat platform on the internet, as far as independent goes. I personally don't like them. They're just as biased. They're so biased. They're like Fox. Like you listen to one side, you listen to others. I don't like. I listen to both of them.
Yes, the Midas touch is compromised. I remember this. This is where
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
this is where people that get fired from MSDNC and the Communist News Network, CNN, go to hell.
Communist News Network.
This is where they end up, man. They say, hey, yeah, you were just fired because you told the truth about Trump, but even though it was libelous and slander, you can work for us. Now the CNN fires you. Jim Acosta, anyone? Or what's the other guy's name that just got fired for lying? The one that posted that social media post on about Trump and ranted, and he took it down and he fired him. Oh wow. You know what I'm talking about? All right, so Jim Acosta, he was another one that left, like ABC News, something like that. So a lot of reporters are leaving and resigning and getting fired because they go so hard on Trump, it becomes a lie blatantly. And number two, the owners of the networks like, yo, chill out, stop. Number one, going so
You
hard,
do know he's the president, right? Like, we're getting sued, right? Like,
and we're trying to cut a deal to get bought out. So that's another story.
something like, yo, Wallet, chill. What are you doing? Yeah.
Nah, we have freedom of speech, but we own you. So your freedom of speech could be outside unemployed, or you just follow a script that we're going to provide for you like you used to. Remember that? Not your expert opinion about how evil Trump was and how China should win this trade war and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is getting scary now. But the thing is, that
Yo, it is very, very, very. We have 5 minutes. It is actually, I mean, it's not like I haven't been saying this was going to happen the entire time, because anybody who can read and was interested in what might come would have been able to pick up a book about the future that told the future in about 835 pages. This was a secret doctrine that you had to climb through caves and defeat evil beings to be able to get. They called it Project 2025.
Here we
And
go.
what you got your hands on is Project 2025.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything that's happening was laid out in this document, which is why I was, even though I seemed to be psychic, that's why I told everything that was going to happen before it happened, and everything I said came to pass. Or I was using my magic, because I have these abilities. I'm like Wolverine or whatever, Rogue.
Professor X, my friend. Maybe it's Professor X or who predicted the future? Madam Web from Spider-Man predicted the future. But I'm
So
saying,
maybe I'm like that, or I can read.
well, thing is
Use your
that
own critical thinking.
it's fine, but wherever your source of reading, that has to be the point. That's why I give a shout out to Microsoft Bing, because at least when you search for something, it can give you objective articles that just plain facts, and that's it, with no feelings like, oh, Donald Trump is up to something again. Oh, here we go. It says factcheck.org. He's lying.
All right, we're going to dive into that Donald Trump thing, because I don't think Donald Trump is the evil person up to all of this bad stuff that they're giving him credit for. I don't at all. I did it. I was starting to, but then I came to some realizations and some of the ridiculous rumors floating around. Because, okay, so here's the thing. Generally speaking, when you hear a bunch of, well, you see a bunch of smoke, there might be flames, there might be fire, right? And there was a lot of things floating around the web about Donald Trump. And I didn't put them in my notes, but there's some stuff. It's because most of it was probably not true, but it was smoke screens, smoke and mirrors, call it what you want, it was smoke. And so I did some critical thinking. I started looking at, why are people saying these things? And then I started seeing, I put them on binoculars. I'm like, what's going on in the smoke? And realized there's fire. There's something to it. And what there is to it, we're gonna dive in a little bit. I want to hear your opinion. Actually, we might start off with that and lead into everything else, because we got about 2 minutes. We got a minute, actually. With a minute left, we're going to get ready to dive in. You ready, Mr. Honorable Dion Powell?
Uh-huh.
All right. So we're going to get this on this hot take. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to the think tank, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and just a pinch of common sense to draw unbiased, logical conclusions. Today, I'm back once again with the Honorable Dion Powell, who does a live with us every Sunday at 9 p.m. and we cover all things Trump. And it's getting more and more hectic. We also do one recorded venue that we put on toward the end of the week. We try and keep everybody up to speed on what's going on because it's a whirlwind. You can't keep up. But there's been four things that could have been on for tonight that we're just not going to get to cover because there's so much that's happening so fast. It's spiraling completely out of control. So before we go into any deeper, I want Dion to introduce herself so y'all know who y'all are getting your information from for those of you that are new to the channel.
Yes, family. And once again, I have something else to whip out. So excuse me while I do this for our audience. As you can see, I'm the 78th Assembly District Leader Dion Powell here in the Bronx, New York. I'm a consultant, and now I'm explaining my consultancy to something called data broker. Look at the term data broker, and that's what I do now too. I'm more a part of the Bronx Conservative Party. I'm not a Republican. I'm the third political party out of four in the state of New York. So yeah, I have a lot to say, a lot of knowledge here to share and impart.
And he's developing quite the fan club here. There, as much as anyone wants to like it or hate it, MAGA is strong. There's a lot of fans, and they like this guy. They like this man. Let's get into it. So before we started, we was discussing something that wasn't quite in the notes, but we might as well talk about that really quickly and get that out, and then we can get into the notes. So Donald Trump has been seen stumbling up staircases. He's been seen, they say he's a catheter running up his legs so that he can urinate. They're saying that he's experiencing signs of cognitive decline.
Who are
And
saying these things?
And at 79 years old, perhaps there is some cognitive decline, especially when he's doing stuff like co-signing Biden being a robot. I see you shaking your head. I want to get into the serious stuff. I don't want to delve into this too long. Please
Okay.
tell me. But please tell.
Well,
No, I'm coming to ask you now.
as the
This is your
streets
chance. You have the floor.
as the streets would say, where was all this smoke during the Biden administration and it being directed towards him, which was happening in front of all of our eyes? Whereas now, to my recollection, I don't see clips of Donald Trump falling upstairs anywhere so often or on loop. So unless you can show us right now, I don't know. But it is more plausible now that you're describing the former president of the United States.
I'm not going to show it on the. Most of the people watching, if they're Americans, have seen him falling up the stairs case to Air
Joe
Force
Biden,
One.
yes. Joe Biden, yes. When you hear
Trump.
president falling upstairs, you think Joe Biden.
You might think that, but we now have Trump as well. Oh, you didn't know?
I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen
Oh man, see,
it.
I'm not doing that. You're not going to distract
Okay,
me.
that's
I don't want
right.
to lose the audience. We're
Let's
going to
go
talk
to
about
the
the
next
serious stuff.
thing.
His cognitive decline. Well, his cognitive decline, which is a very apparent at this point, is important because some of the decisions that are going on around. First of all, let's be clear. The president doesn't make all the decisions. Never has, never will. One man can't make all the decisions. An inspired leader, an intelligent leader, has brilliant people around him. He may know what he wants, but he can't say this is what we're going to do. He turns around to the brilliant people around him and says, how do we make this happen? Who do we talk to? What's the best strategy? He doesn't try and figure it all by himself. Anybody who does that's a fool. And Donald Trump's no fool. Don't
No,
ever think Donald Trump's a fool. So no, he doesn't do that. And neither did Biden, because that's not how any leader works.
Biden didn't work at all.
You've been in the business for a while. How many leaders do you know that make all the decisions themselves and don't have a team around that they say, I want this, and then that person that leads that portion of the team figures out how to make it happen?
Well, this is a very narcissistic dark triad industry, so some of that may be happening as well. And
What I ask you is, how many times have you seen that?
every time I've seen that, a person actually not do that with a team,
Yes.
it's hard to say, Leo. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and sometimes politicians can be a one-man show depending on the situation. So it is possible.
The higher up the ladder you go, the more bigger the decisions are, the more people you need to help execute. You can't do it by yourself. It's impossible. If one man can't
It's
make all the
called
decisions for a country, that's
micromanaging.
crazy.
It's called micromanaging. And some of these narcissists and dark triad thinkers in this realm that's so toxic, in their brain, sometimes it seems that way.
If that was the case, he wouldn't need heads of departments. He wouldn't need a cabinet if he was doing it all himself.
Well, that's true.
But let's talk about what's actually happening. I don't want to segue too far off of the topic. We have monumental catastrophic events occurring, and I believe last week's seems like a year ago. So much is happening. Last week's topic was called "A War of Two Fronts," where he was fighting inside the United States and outside the United States, and I was utilizing tariffs to cover the two wars because I saw the next one coming. The man has always said that prices will go down day one. There's no wars under him. He's Everything he says is crazy. Nothing he says comes to pass. But the biggest one right now, oh my God, it's even bigger than the big bad bill, which we will touch on. But first, let's complete last week. He's now in court fighting again to be able to place troops anywhere he wants in the country. Yesterday, he celebrated the so-called 250th anniversary of the military, where the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force was formed 250 years ago. I think the National Guard and Air Force was actually formed. The National Guard and the what is it called? The water ones. We don't count
What's
them.
good? What's good?
Whatever, we don't count them. It was like 50 years after.
Yes, thank you for your service, Leo, and happy Father's Day. Happy Single Father's Day. Oh my God. This is
Thank you,
Military
thank you.
History 101, my friend. And shout out to President Trump, whose birthday was Saturday, whereas mine was on Thursday. Gemini season, right, Leo?
Gemini season. As a matter of fact, we had the biggest birthday party that the country's ever seen yesterday. I'm sorry, it was a military celebration.
Okay.
And
Keep it up.
250 years of military. And now to celebrate, we're going into war again. Thank you, Donald Trump.
He's trying not to, and he's trying his best to avoid that.
Trying not to.
If you see the statement that they made about Israel, I was very blown away. Secretary Marco
Did you
Rubio,
hear what he said? Later for what they said. What did he say?
on his troop social, he said himself, the United States of America had nothing to do with this attack. So
What
please,
did he say before he said that on camera?
I didn't see that. I'm just going to go what happened on Truth Social when the man when they made immediate public statements via social
He
media.
said he warned them. He told them about the military might, and they didn't listen. Even though today they were supposed to negotiate, he said he warned them, and this is what they get.
Who did
He
he
said
warn
he played an integral part of that happening.
of
And
the invasion?
all over the world, in every other country, Russia, China, and every other country is saying that it's a proxy war that the United States is using Israel to fight the Middle East. And if you look at what Israel's doing, they've attacked Gaza. The United States backed them up. They've attacked the Houthis. That was supplied by Iran. The United States backed them up. A direct attack on Iran when 2 days before we were supposed to have further talks about the taking about them not having nuclear weapons, something that was already established, I don't know, under the Biden administration. No, Trump took it off. So it couldn't have been under the Biden administration because Trump took off. It was the Obama administration. And they had the nuclear arms deal under the Obama administration. Trump killed the deal. And now he's trying to put a new one on, not even as strong as Obama's. That's regardless. He's trying to put a new one on. And before the negotiations can be finished, Israel attacks. And he's backing it now because the pressure's so high. He's saying he doesn't want anything to do with it. So typical Gemini talking out of both sides of his face. Are you saying, as a MAGA person, you believe him? What side do you support? Because MAGA's splitting over this.
Well, when people ask me this all the time, I always say, I'm on my side. Now, next thing is America first is a concept that I'm strongly believing on this side. And when it comes to Israel, I try to be neutral since that I wish America would stop supporting and funding countries in their military conflicts and defense systems. When everybody should have sovereignty, we have to protect ourselves first. And just like I saw Secretary Rubio and President Trump did on Truth Social, listen, Israel did this. We didn't co-sign it. Please don't drag us into this by attacking us. Because they know that if we get involved, then Russia and everybody else can pile on and defend Iran and some other dealings. But you allude to a proxy war being fought through Israel. That actually may be the case because come to find out, Israel does have its intelligence agencies in America doing certain things against certain people. Um, that's a fact. And they're using our technologies against us in various other areas. So I've been informed by my group. So that's my response. Just like with Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine, good luck with Russia. You guys deserve each other. America's money, military, and weaponry should stay over here.
That's not going to happen. Trump is supporting Israel. Trump is also saying this could be the beginning of World War III. Something else he blamed on Biden. Oh, if I could come.
Well, Biden actually, these two conflicts started under who? Biden. And they were enabled by who? Biden. That's a fact. When did Israel get attacked? When did Russia invade Ukraine? Who
I
supplied?
don't think Iran attacked Israel. I don't think that happened.
No,
As a
the
matter
point
of
is,
fact, I believe that right now, under Donald Trump, Israel attacked Iran unprovoked in middle of a peace talk.
this all stems and is predicated from the Biden administration. It's not connected to the Trump first administration because none of these things happened. Everybody was buddy buddy. And guess what? He put the capital of Israel in Jerusalem. They thought this kind of hell would work out when he did that, and it was crickets. So nobody could tell me and people like me on this side that President Donald Trump is actually the source of all these problems.
Well, half his cabinet seems to think he is. The MAGA party is splitting because Trump took credit for this, which is why he walked it back and is now trying to walk away from it. So, and by the way, he happens to have more troops still in California than he does over there. Something
Good,
that we were talking at the
good.
beginning about all these political stuff and his judicial stuff. So, quick breakdown, right? He is claiming a victory from a stay order. And in English, what that means is even though he lost and he was supposed to return control of the National Guard to California and pull the Marine troops out as a temporary injunction, something that the judge temporarily said could happen. He went to appeal it, and there was a stay put. It means that stay in place, don't do anything until we make a decision on what's going to happen, and we give a final decision where it's going to actually be an opinion, what we think the law means. And we think you could do this is our opinion. They're gonna give an opinion on I believe they handed paperwork in Tuesday, and the verbal argument is going to be conducted on Wednesday. So he has a temporary stay. Or right now you can leave the troops until we make our decision, until y'all bring our arguments. He's declaring victory, but it's just that we're not going to make you pull the troops back out and put them back in and pull them out. We're going to leave everything as it is. We're going to stay where we at until a final decision is made. That's all he got. In the meantime, Marines, for the first time in the history of this country, have been used against American citizens. You're shaking your head no.
This goes back to President Eisenhower. I keep referring, that's the first snap hole in my brain. Wait a minute, this sounds historically familiar. Yes, President Eisenhower ought to protect these black little children to go to the white.
Sent in the National Guard, yes.
Okay, so military has been used before in this.
I didn't say military, I said Marines. I understand you've never served, so you don't
Synonymous,
understand.
my friend.
No,
Synonymous.
not at all. Listen, the National Guard was created to work within the borders of the country and support the police, support FEMA, support work in the borders. The Marines are killing machines made to attack other countries,
Military,
never,
personnel.
never to be used in the borders.
Military, regardless. For example, military connects them and other branches, just like law enforcement. You could actually argue Marines are law enforcement. Somebody can put that on paper and it would make sense. When I say synonymous, the military, I leave it there for the viewer.
That's like saying I hit my child with a piece of paper, or I hit this dude was coming after me and I hit him with a stick, or this dude was coming after me and I shot him. And you're like, but you used a weapon. That's
Now,
what you just said. It's a
the
weapon.
question is,
Yeah, well, one is
the,
deadly and the other is not.
the language you're using is trying to make the viewer think
No, no,
that the
that's exactly
Marines
what you did. The
were
Marines are
used.
killing machines.
You see, now you're
Talk to a Marine.
you're
I'm
conflating
saying
the
this.
two. The point is this: the Marines would sit in like the National Guard to actually deter people and
They're
protect
not
you.
trained to deal with people that way.
Doesn't
It's not what they're
matter.
trained for.
You can have a pit
And
bull dog. A pit bull dog is not trained, but have a pit bull dog outside your store with its foam around its mouth. Sure, it's going to deter people from coming to that store, I'm sure. And that's the pit bull we have as the Marines. Just stand there with those guns and say, hey, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. The Trump administration.
that is completely crazy.
It's completely
What you're
crazy
saying to the
how people aren't reporting the millions of dollars in property damages that's happening now. The cars on fire, everything under the guise of
I
peaceful
don't think there
protest
was millions
that's
of dollars of
riots.
property damage.
The media is not going to show you.
No one has said there's millions of dollars of property
Of
damage.
course, the media is not going to say that, but that's what's actually happening. So
I
I
I
believe.
the media is not covering up millions of dollars of
Exactly,
property
they are.
damage.
Exactly, they are. Since 2020, George Floyd, summer fun to now, the media has lied to you people. And if you believe what they're saying now is going on, I'm sorry to say that you may be too far gone with your Trump derangement, but the fact remains on the ground, talk to people on the ground, through social media, everybody's saying, hey, these are riots. These guys are out of control. Even when they reported on Commerce News Network or MSDNC with the ticker, people protest, in the background, you see the fires and the explosions and, throwing the cocktails in the background. No, they're just peaceful protesting, everybody. But look over there. It's the Marines. It's Donald Trump. Look over there. Don't fall for it, family.
Sometimes MAGA supporters make up their own facts. And I'm not going to fact check everything that comes out
Yeah, fact check
because
us. You'll never fact check the Democrats.
it's impossible to fact check everything.
The
It's too
Democrats, that
much.
is, not Trump. You can fact check Trump the whole episode, but
Listen,
dare you fact check somebody
Trump
else.
is the Trump love is so great that people fall so deeply into him that they actually believe anybody that goes against him or says something about him is sick. They literally named it Trump derangement syndrome. They literally believe that anybody that goes against Trump, there has to be something wrong
That's
with
not
them.
true at all. The Trump arrangement stems from the hatred and focus of to and for Donald Trump is so great that the reality that you're projecting is so outrageous and not based on fact. For example, you said earlier that there's internal strife with the Trump administration and Israel. But then you also said in the same breath that it's one big cult. Everybody loves Trump. The Trump people, they're all up his behind. But before you actually said the over the Israel issue, we're separated. So far, you haven't said anything balanced or fair about Trump. Oh, by the way, President Trump had a very successful and well-attended military 250-year anniversary. Period. That would have been trolling straight across the board. Fact. And also, not
It
sensationalized.
just happened to be on his birthday and it had nothing to do with his birthday, right?
You see, all that didn't have to be
I'm
said.
asking a question. All I did was ask a question.
I'm just telling you the reporting style. You can say yes. The 250th anniversary of the military was coincidentally held on President Trump's birthday this Saturday. Those are facts. That's balanced reporting. Oh, by the way,
No, see,
it's a lie. That's on his birthday. It's not
once
the
you
military anniversary. Lies. Donald Trump.
So you're saying fair and balanced has to be that it was a coincidence rather than speaking the truth. Got it.
The fact is this. This is the facts. The military. Look. This is reading comprehension on the old school standardized test. The 250th anniversary of the military was held on June 14th. Also, it is the president's birthday. Period. Now that's a factual statement. Now it's up to you, the viewer, the listener, to interpret just that. That's on the search. But Trump deranged will say, oh no, this is a fake holiday, everybody. Donald Trump again is trying to flex his might with his military industrial complex on his birthday. It's actually
While
about
he's trying to
him.
place troops everywhere in the country and be able to hold them there as long as he wants. Marines on on U.S.
That's the
soil.
derangement
Anyway,
fluff. That's the Trump derangement extra fluff on the
that
facts.
is not. That's actually what Trump said. It's actually what Trump said. Trump said that he want because once. So you think he's going to put him in California? What did he say? Afterwards, he's going to place them any place where there might be um protests. And what did he do? He threatened the protesters. He said they was gonna be met with extreme force. Quote, extreme force for protesting by Marines. That is and I can't even believe you're defending that. That is
I can't believe that you're not reporting the entire story of all the protests, violence, property damage, and injuries. Like the rest of the media is not reporting that. But you still, that's okay because people's critical thinking, common sense, inductive reasoning, and YouTube and word of mouth is saying, hey, the media has been lying to us about so much. We don't believe that. We believe President Trump, we're more inclined to rather, that there is violence and there is riots going on and there is property damage. There is stealing, robbing, and shooting as well. So good luck convincing the audience otherwise.
I mean, I'm just gonna say let's look at Trump's track record. He's gonna bring prices down.
It's the media track record.
He's going to make it. There's going to be no wars while he's in office. There will be no World War III. There's going to be. I mean, what promises did he make? He made so many. I get
Close
lost
the
in
border.
them.
You always forget the obvious thing. The man closed the border like that. So
That is something that he did do. He did
how can
close
we
the
forget that?
border.
You should put that on Leo on the freaking bottom of the screen. One of Trump's major accomplishments was close the border.
No, his big signature accomplishment was closing the border. Congratulations, President Donald Trump, for closing the border and helping to make our country safer. Except for now, you're even backing down on what you're going to do with immigration. I mean, what is it? People that are working at restaurants, working at farms, working in hotels are now not going to be deported because the protests were successful.
What
No,
protests? The No King's Day protests? What protest was successful?
no, the immigration protests.
Then what's this have to do with No King's Day?
Well, they're all happening simultaneously. You can't separate something because those protests never ended. The No King's protests happened at the same time. And then there's the parade for his birthday celebrating the military. All of this is happening. That is why I said this is just such a crazy time. Like all of this is happening. All of it. It's not one or the other. This is like you go here, this protest is about there. You go there, it's a parade. You go here, they're protesting. It's all happening. You go over there, they're firing. The World War III is about to start. They're firing bombs back and forth. Who's winning? Well, they had the big dome over Israel, so Israel's supposed to be safe, except for Kiev is getting smashed. Not Kiev, that's Russia. That's
Ukraine.
Ukraine, right? Oh man, oh, Israel's getting smashed. It's everything is happening all at one time. I haven't even looked at my notes yet.
Well,
It's
the fact is
crazy.
this. It's very fluid, this administration, when it comes to policy, certain things. This man is throwing so much against the wall that occasionally he has to backtrack, pedal, and adjust. But the thing is, no matter how you feel about the man, you know and feel and trust things are being done, like it or not. So now looks like the man acquiesced and has to retain certain portions of immigration as they still try to figure out how to deport these millions of people in an effective manner. So he's trying to fix the mess that were inherited. He closed the border, which is phase one, but phase two, getting and deporting all the illegals, that's going to be a big challenge, but he's still trying. He's going to throw as much against the wall to make it happen for the American people.
Well, let's touch on that big beautiful bill that he likes to call it, the big bad bill.
Which is where before the Senate. So that's the facts. Let's put the facts in here, okay?
It is still in the Senate.
Thank you.
Elon Musk helped us out a little bit because if that bill passed, tens of millions of people will be hurt. But hold up, we're jumping the gun. We actually have a list we're supposed to be looking at here. I do believe that the Marines remain in California under stay order. They are they're attacking citizens. There's racial profiling, according to the mainstream media. I can't say if it's true or not. I wasn't there.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit more balanced saying it that way. I
It's
wasn't
honest.
there. I was there.
Okay. Trump is backing down off immigration, though, so something's happening. Trump said that he called Newsom about sending in the National Guard, right?
Okay.
Then he sends the call records in to be reported, and he sent in call records that proved that he was lying. Some might say this might be due to cognitive decline.
Some might say this is going to be January 6th, because everybody wants to talk about January 6th. Let's talk about January 6th and how the man did lie. The media reported so that he said, listen, I offered Nancy Pelosi and Mayor Bowser of D.C. the National Guard, and they both turned me down. Fast forward, well, the man wasn't lying. Nancy Pelosi's daughter in her documentary got her on tape saying, oh my God, this is my fault. We should have gave Trump the National Guard clearance. Oh my God. So if you want us to believe that this conversation between Newsom and Trump did not happen and Trump is lying, once again, the people are going to be skeptical of the source of the media and these tapes because you lied to the
It was
people on
his phone records
January
that he
6th.
sent in. It was his phone records.
Nobody cares because you lied to us about January 6th and when Trump said he wanted to send National Guard and Pelosi and DC Mayor Bowser Cooper, Queen Cooper, that's her name is Bowser. So they covered it up. The media. We don't
I
believe
didn't
them.
even know that one. That's big.
Of course not. The media is not going to tell you that a black woman, mayor of DC, tried to circumvent and undermine the president of the United States and hyped up January 6th. They're not going to tell you Nancy Pelosi, former speaker, who's actually the speaker now, whereas Hakeem Jeffries is nobody, that she actually covered it up and then, once again, try to sabotage President Trump to make January 6th happen organically.
I don't believe anybody can send the National Guard into the White House from the state level.
No, he offered it to Nancy Pelosi, Congress. He offered it to DC, in which the White House and Congress and legislative buildings are in, to make sure all the law enforcement, like the Marines, are all on the same page and because things went left.
The
Both of those
Marines are not
went
law
in.
enforcement. Stop using them interchangeably. That's actually an insult to me. I don't like that shit.
Well, then the
It's not what
military,
it
well, the
is.
National Guard is military, right?
National Guard is the military.
Thank you. So let's just, and the Marines are military too, right?
Listen, as somebody who actually served,
Just asking questions.
you're comparing the Marines to the National Guard. It's like comparing steak to a hamburger. Like you can't. They're like no, no.
Okay. Well, my thing is this: law enforcement is a blanket term for a certain group, and military is a blanket term for everybody else, right? So I'm saying this: the president wanted, just like in California, all the protectors of America to be on the same page for a similar volatile situation, and that's it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna say this. I would, if I were you, I would never ever in my life say to a Marine in their face that they're equivalent to the National
I didn't
Guard.
say that. I didn't say that.
Not unless you're ready to get beat up.
I'm not saying that, Leo. I'm just saying that making sure like when 9/11 happened, making sure everybody's just on the same page. That's it. That's all Trump wanted.
I'm just letting you know that if you do that to a Marine, you're gonna get you're be prepared to fight. It's okay, but you're going to get beat up because they're gonna hit you. I
Sometimes the truth
absolutely like
hurts.
yo. Those are literally fighting words. Like you can't even compare us to the Marines, and they work it and on the bottom of a Marine paycheck says the United States Navy. And if I say it, I gotta fight. I know because I have. I'm not just saying. You say that about the National Guard. Woo! Be prepared to fight. That's
No,
like comparing a street beat cop to the FBI.
they're both law enforcement. Thank you.
Right. One can work at a certain level, other can work at another level. You put a National Guard troop in Israel, they'll probably all die. You put the Marines out there, woo-ha, they're gonna come kick ass and take names. Because they're the Marines.
And they're both branches of the military.
They are branches of the military, they have very different functions.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with that. We just said two facts that complement each other. But the fact remains this: the president of the United States, the commander in chief. Why don't you? I'll leave that there, Leo. Why don't you explain to the viewers what is the commander in chief and what does that have to do with anything?
Commander in chief is the person that is in charge of the military.
And that person is equated to the president of the United States because they both have to be hand in hand, right?
That is the president of the United States is the commander in chief.
Period. So now, if he puts the military into a certain area of the country, we said earlier that the court system is trying to define if that's legal or not, correct?
They already found that it was illegal. He appealed it. Now it's in appeals, but they already found that it was illegal.
Okay, so
That's the
it's
state.
right. So
That's the truth.
the fact is, it's right. It's under appeal right now, correct?
Yes.
Well, there we go. But the fact
So they found it
remains,
illegal. He's trying to fight the fact that he did something illegal, like he always does, like he did with every case. He lost about 99% of them, 99.6% of them. He lost because he keeps doing illegal stuff.
right?
Like a Gregor Garcia that we argued for months, but then when he was about when
Nobody
half his
cares
team,
about that guy. I want to have. I wish I get a free plane ticket to freaking El Salvador at this point. You know what I'm saying? So the point is this.
Trump cared enough to bring his behind back, didn't he?
Well, that's again, that's the checks and balances, Leo, of the branches of government when it comes to the judiciary versus the executive. But he's still the commander in chief. He's still the executive officer of this country. And again, there's certain leeways of executive privilege that he has. Now the check and
I mean,
balances, they've been doing it. So
his people talking about tar and feathering Newsom because I quote, he's taking control of he's wait, no, I want to get this right. He isn't taking control of his state, especially he isn't taking control of his state, and especially because it's a mixed state. He should be tarred and feathered.
who said that?
So so they believe MAGA people believe he should be tarred and feathered
Bob,
because he's
respectfully.
not taking this I'm quoting, that's a quote. Tar and
Okay.
feathered. They said it was actually said that he should not be arrested. He should be tarred and feathered. That's an exact quote. Because he's not taking control of his state, especially because it's a mixed state, especially because there's black people in it. Word? That's how
Wow.
they give it up. This
You
is
have
what
to
they're
add
saying to
all
the
that in
news.
there. You have to add all that in there for some sort of
No, that was a quote. That was a word for word, verbatim quote.
and that has nothing to do with anything, but the fact remains that California's burned down again, just like with the fires in LA, thanks to Mayor Karen Bass and her mismanagement. And that's why the president's saying, hey, I got to come in and deal with this because you guys, Newsom and Bass, can't be trusted to handle anything. Period.
According to reports, Trump did nothing to help them fires, unless you believe Trump, which he also said there wouldn't be World War III, they wouldn't be attacking people. He also said that they wouldn't touch Medicaid and Social Security. He also said, I mean, nothing this man, he's going to bring prices down day one. He's going to stop the war in Ukraine day one. He's going to stop the war in Gaza day one. I mean, if he says it, then it's probably the opposite.
This is the Trump derangement that people like us point out all the time because you're not bringing that smoke again for how we got to this point in which supplying Ukraine with all its weaponry, supplying Israel, enabling Israel to this point. But the fact remains, none of this actually happened under President Trump's first term. But he did fix one problem that we all agree upon right now, which is close the border like that. But we forget that. But I'm here to remind you of that one little good thing the man's done out of 99% that they're going to try to convince you that he's doing wrong.
We can acknowledge that Trump did something right. Congratulations, President Donald Trump. Right now, you have troops attacking American citizens. You have World War III breaking out because Israel attacked Iran and you took credit for it. So I don't know if I should believe you or not. I really don't.
You
I
don't
have
have to
no
believe
idea.
the man. You don't have to believe the man. It's just that the audience, they're the ones, when it comes to the support of President Trump, have to go up or down, left, right. But what fact remains? No matter if Trump's support goes up and down, way below that is the Democrats. So what are the other options here and promises of the future and game plan? If Trump is up here, up or down, whatever, but Democrats are still down here with their misleadership, mismanagement, and all that other kind of stuff, blaming all your life's problems on President Trump.
It
That's
looks
what
like to me that Donald Trump is creating his adversary because people believe Newsom.
let them believe him. The fact remains his state and his cities are out of control. But the legacy media,
He's
let them
calling for
believe,
the protest. He's calling for peaceful protests. Is it out of control if you're getting what you're
enabling
asking for?
violence. And he's enabling rioters and looters and pillagers. And the thing is,
There
they
were 2,100 No Kings protests throughout the country.
Mhm.
2,100. That's a lot throughout the world. That's a lot. Are you saying they were all like you call Black Lives Matter, where I was there myself, so I can say for a fact not true, no matter what you say, and then you consider the insurrectionists to be peaceful while we watch with our own eyes as they raided the Capitol. So they were set
that,
up, but cops was being stomped
just
out and
like Black
killed.
Lives Matter was set up too. I'm saying it for both of them, but
I was there. I
at all of them,
participated. You were
at all of
invited
them,
to the insurrection and didn't go. I participated in the Black Lives Matter movement. I was there. You're
all the
telling me what you
cities.
heard, and I'm telling you what I saw. These are not the same. You got hearsay. I have firsthand.
All right, you got that. But the point is this: California is being mismanaged. Los Angeles is being mismanaged. Both of those leaders, the governor and the mayor, are not equipped to handle these situations. So the president of the United States is intervening, and that's where we are. Those are the facts.
Well, let's talk about the facts. They're being mismanaged. I say that California's a financial powerhouse. You disagree with that? Well, let's take a look at the statistics. As a matter of fact, California has the sixth highest GDP in the world. What does that mean in English? That means that if they were a country, they would have more goods and service. They would make more money from goods and services than every country in the world but five. It would be the sixth highest country in the world by GDP. Those numbers say that they're doing. Do you know what they do with their money? They support other countries, these red states, rather. That's what they do. We can look this up. These are numbers. Can't argue numbers.
Numbers are this, Leo. California is the worst in the country when it comes to veteran services. So if they have this big budget, they have the number one homeless rate for veterans. Shouldn't that be something you talk about? Their mismanagement of that and how they're sleeping on the streets, whereas the illegals get the whole bread and butter? That's a shame, Leo. You want to be offended as a veteran? If I was a veteran, I'd be offended about that.
And I am. I happen to agree. That's terrible.
That's the
I
fact. The number one state in the country. That's why President
Yeah, I
Trump
mean they had tent city and everything. These are
That's
all
why
true
President
statements.
Trump made the executive order for veterans housing in California. You know that, right? If you look
I
at his
did not
veterans
know that.
policy, he targeted California. Like, no, you're going to do this, that, and the third for the veterans, and it will change now. So look at executive order for Veterans Affairs for California, housing especially. Boop, Trump did that. But you see now, the
Now
media,
that's two for Trump.
now the
That's
media,
great, President Donald Trump. That's two for Trump. Now that we've got you there and we got you when houses go out and attack the other citizens. That's what he did. Like it, don't like it. That is what
No, but
happened.
you need to critique the media sources and the internet when you search these good AI, label 10 things that President Trump did good so far. And nothing. See, that's the problem, Leo. That's what's scary. The knowledge for our youth and people is such propaganda right now. It's hard to believe
I mean,
anything.
he's got us. He's got troops attacking American citizens. He's got
How?
us at war. Medicaid
How
and
are the
Medicare in
troops?
danger. Social
How are the
Security in
troops?
danger. He's doing a lot of bad
How is the
things.
troops? How are the troops attacking American people? Are they the aggressor or are they the defenders?
He already said for them to be aggressive. He's come out and told them to do that. What was his words? I just read them.
So one minute
Trump calls.
he's telling the truth by his words, the other minute he's lying. So
Listen, whether he's telling the
he's
truth or
coming
not,
out as trolling.
he's
Man, he's trolling.
incentivizing. He's giving the commander in chief is telling people to be to telling his troops to be aggressive. The commander in chief is telling his troops to be aggressive, regardless of whether or not you want to believe him. The words coming from the commander in chief's mouth is to be aggressive. That's horrifying. It sounds almost authoritarian. I mean, I have like, there's never been anything like what Trump has done with the parade, but not in the United States. But if those flags were red instead of red, white, and blue, it will look just like a Nazi parade. Would you like to take a Would you
All
like to
that
take
is
a look at a
as the
video?
saying
Let's take a look at a
as,
video.
as the saying in grade school is all that this man just said is pure hyperbolic. I think that's the persuasive language that he's using, metaphors, allegorical even sometimes. Inflammatory, that's another big vocabulary word. And so you heard the man say it. But viewers, it's up to you to decide. How do you feel about Trump way or the other? And how do you feel about my new stylish hat?
Oh man, this is Trump talking at the parade. All right, let's see what it looked like.
What it look like?
Look at this. Look at this.
Yep, and
Right?
it's a success.
Wonderful. Oh, this isn't parade stuff. Here we go. This is.
Oh boy, here we go.
I mean, does
So,
that look almost? I mean, could you tell the difference right now? Could you tell the difference right now?
hmm.
I couldn't. Let's go back to what we was just looking at with
Yes,
America.
what if you should might as well play the intro of G.I. Joe the movie side by side and say Cobra. La, la,
Hold
la,
up.
la,
Hold
la.
up. What is this? What does this look like to you?
It looks very
It
patriotic. That's what it looks like.
and you know what? I will go as far as to say I am happy about the patriotism part of it. Absolutely. But it was put together like in a very scary way. It's put together like almost like I said it would be when he got in office. The American getting attacked by Marines is what we was worried about from the moment he got reelected. When he said if he got away with the insurrection, next thing he would do is put troops in the street. That's what we predicted. That's what we said would happen. That's what happened. We were unfortunately correct.
What's this we? The fact is this man is going to keep trucking. He's not slowing down, family. And the most important thing is you should be more concerned about other things than their violent vitriol pointing at President Trump and try to stand with this man, behind this man, not against this man, but what's going on right now. And
You
also,
know, that's exactly what they did to Hitler. They stood behind him because he was in charge. That's what you should do. You should blindly follow your leader because that's smart.
well, guess what? The fourth branch of government, which we all know from Nazi Germany, propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, shout out to him, you have to look through this stuff and do critical thinking research for yourself. So don't take anything we say, me or him, at face value. Hopefully, it uses yourself to research on your own. Don't depend on one primary source like Google. Try other sources like Microsoft Bing, or maybe even a library and go through the library's intranet that can't be compromised by the internet. Woo! Back to you, Leo.
If anybody feels that this is turning into an authoritarian regime, put one in the chat. Let us know what you think. Communicate with us. Let us know. Put one in the chat if you think this is an authoritarian regime or turning into one. In the meantime, Trump tried to get his felonies erased. That was wonderful. Failed, but he tried. I guess he wanted to be remembered in the history books in a positive manner.
Why did he try in the first place? Why don't you explain the lawfare that some of us believe happened to him these past 4 years and try to throw him in jail?
Well, Trump appointed judges seem to think he was guilty. His
Well,
own people felt he was guilty.
well, the thing is, the sidebar of that is the concept called a rhino. Remember, I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative party in the New York State, and that these judges are pushed through because the first time he didn't really know what he's doing. He had the team around him to help him out, but this time he's assembled Tulsi, Kennedy, Vivek. Remember him? Cash Patel, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Scott Bassett, Byron Donalds. Has all the people in place right now to help him figure things out. They're Republican judges appointed by him, yes, but he had no idea they were snakes. But that's the way politics is. Shout out to Chinwe. She's watching right now. My new Nigerian friend that I met where? At the Black Conservative Federation Gala in DC during inauguration. So shout out to Chinwe. Check out her products and brand. Thank you for liking and subscribing to us, Queen.
Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate it. Your boy Dion on here, making new fans. They seem to love this guy for some reason.
I think I'm gonna have to get one of these little cute things in pink for you, homegirl.
Got problems. But all right, I want to get back into this. So it's his judges seem to think he's guilty. That's the bottom line. Russia seems to believe that Britain, France, and the U.S. were involved with the airstrikes in Iran. This is what they're reporting, and China, Russia and China actually agreeing. Tell me that's not ironic. Are strongly admonishing America for its part in that attack. They want to call China is actually calling out Israel for war crimes.
Well, can you please also report and share the screen about Trump's socialist post saying that hey, America had nothing to do with this and do not attack our citizenry? So why don't you play and show the screen where Secretary Rubio said the same thing immediately? Yes, the United States of America did not sanction this activity, so yeah, we're going to be out of this one. All those things are two powerful statements, I believe, in this conflict that the public should know. Number one, look at Truth Social, that platform, that social media, and see what it has to say. That's the first thing. Number two, just try to find on your search engine those two facts that Trump denied involvement with this attack, and the Secretary of State denied our involvement in the attack. And most importantly, hey, no need to kill us around the world because we don't really like what's going on, had nothing to do with it.
Let me see. When was this? Because he changed his story. So we want to get the first story he did, right? Because, he talks out of both sides of his face. That's Trump. Gemini.
It's Trump being Trump.
I don't think I shared it correctly. I need to share it with sound. Oh, wrong screen. And I lost my. Oh. I can't. I'm having trouble with my share. No, I don't want to do that. I can't seem to find it in my Google right now. Oh, there it is. Now let's share it.
I'm gonna take a sip of this water.
Could I do it with sound? Oh my God, it's the third time. Let me see if I can get it right the third time. You can read it.
I hear some sound, but you're gonna have to increase the volume on the YouTube. And also your computer too.
Heading for Israel.
Now the screen is frozen.
These explosions hit, and we're waiting for more word.
Yeah.
I don't want to do all this talking head stuff. I want to get to Trump talking himself.
Yes, and play the whole clip for at least 5 minutes so we get the whole context, please. Don't be like Commerce News Network or MSDNC or CBS or other fake news.
I can't seem to find the clip. Back on Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk is finished. Elon Musk went against Trump and found out who the boss was. That's what happened.
Well, the wedge the media needed to put between the two finally happened. So now you guys can all create your own ticker tape parade. But the point is this: we're still going to keep moving forward.
Oh, this is 2 hours ago. No, I mean, it wasn't about creating a wedge. It was about predicting the future and understanding what you were looking at. And it wasn't really
projecting what you want to see to the viewer. There's something in the media called pre-predictive programming. Are you familiar with this concept, Leo?
Something like it.
All right, this goes back to The Simpsons. Remember, The Simpsons pre-predicted that Donald Trump would be the president because they played episodes in their classic cartoons of such scenarios, putting the imprint in our mindset that this is acceptable future opportunity, future possibility, and making it acceptable among the masses. Pre-predictive programming for the masses. And the media right now is trying to do just that with projection. Trump's going to do World War III. Trump's going to do World War III. Trump, he's racist. He's racist. Boom, 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 1,000 times. But keep it going, Leo.
Now, see, it's called inductive reason. It's called deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning, you have to look at the facts that are already there. Deductive reasoning, when you take a look and you say, well, inductive reasoning, right? So when you say things like the man wouldn't let black people into his apartment buildings, that's a fact.
Unless your family got murdered and then he said, hey, you can stay here forever. Now, we all know what happened with what's this lady from Dreamgirls? What's her name? When her family got killed. I'm drawing a blank now. What's her name? The singer from Dreamgirls. And her family got killed, and Donald Trump welcomed into his hotels for free. Jennifer Hudson, that's her name. If you look up Jennifer Hudson and Donald Trump, you can see how racist and evil he was to her. Isn't that interesting?
Right. Well, he is a person that does take social levels and does calculate that. He'll be friends with a black person that got money.
That's not true at all.
Believe that.
What about the homeless woman that he live in Trump Tower for free forever? You know, you see, Trump is like George Steinbrenner in the Bronx, who used to own the Yankees before he passed. He's a rich guy that did lots of great things, but he didn't want to publicize. Nah, I'm just gonna let it rock and let it speak for themselves. What about the Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, all those pictures with him and Don King with Trump having a good time?
Like I said, people with money. I mean, he was good with them. Michael Jackson too. He's good with people with money. Puffy. He's good with Puffy. He's good with people with money. But so he let a homeless woman stay in his place, right? I didn't know about that. I heard about that.
Media's not going to report these little factoids.
But he's also friends with, I don't know, the Ku Klux Klan leader and Proud Boys who say are not racist.
Oh, Joe Biden? Okay, I'm glad we're finally talking about Joe Biden now. Okay.
No, Joe Biden falls in that as well, though. Definitely, without question.
Who hurt black people more so, President Biden or President Trump? On paper, who hurt black people more, if we want to take it there?
Right now, Trump. Before the presidency, without question, Biden.
This is sad, Leo.
Before the presidency, without question, Biden. If you don't count the exonerated 5. But if you take them out of the picture, without question, Biden. However, since he's been president,
Donald Trump sent these 5 to jail with his advertisement letter. That's the only thing that sent him to jail, right? It was Donald Trump's fault they went to jail.
No, he didn't sway public opinion. It's all in my imagination.
Well, again,
it was such a strong movement under the presidency. Why is it?
This happened in 1989, and he was an evil man then. But from 1990 to mid 2000s, the same black people had no problem with it. Jesse Jackson had no problem with it. Reverend Al had no problem with it. All the black people that called him a racist now, most of them didn't have a problem with it until he ran for president. Mike Tyson stood his ground. That man's a boxing champion to me and said, listen, I can't say the man's racist. I can't say anything regular about the man. The man says nothing about nice things to me. Who stood up for Mike Tyson when Robin Gibbons did her stuff to him? Donald Trump. When he was accused of doing rape, Donald Trump won Letterman's like, nah, that didn't happen. Mike was set up. These women, blah, 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 blah. Mike Tyson, so, yeah, I don't care. You call me, if that's me the Tom, then I'm the Tom. Simple. Everybody else?
You just named 3 of the most successful black men in the country and said he stood by them. Anyway, China never agreed to a deal. The talks went through the table. He always says he has a deal. We're like 110, 115 days in. He said it'd be a bunch of deals. He said he had 80 countries lined up. 100 days ago, there'd be a ton of deals on the table. Here we are, 115, not a single deal assigned. Yet another lie. Yet another lie. So all of these tariffs that are hurting American consumers are for naught because nothing is happening. Heck, he wanted to bail out American steel and make American steel stronger and bring the steel industry back. I bet you didn't know that Nippon Steel, a Japanese company, purchased American Steel for like $40 billion. American Steel is no longer owned by Americans. What do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that I should answer my homegirl Chinwei's question, who just texted me, and that no matter what this man does or says, it's always going to be spun to negative prospects. But yes, he's doing, by trial and error, mind you, things that he's going to think, things that he feels the administration will benefit the American people, worker, unions, and labor. Keep in mind, this evil man was the one that got Woman Rink together here in New York City, whereas the unions, everybody else, our Democratic controlled government failed us. He gets it done. I was there when he was in the campaign trail. He came to New York City twice, Manhattan, that is, when he was with the Steelworkers Union downtown. I was there with my people. And yeah, so with the tariff war, labor, again, trial and error, he's still going to keep trucking. He's still going to have support. And we're not even going to mention the Democrats here. Isn't that interesting? Leo doesn't mention the word Democrats. I have to let you know that that's the alternative. What are they doing talking about? They blame their life's problems on Trump, but what's their alternative? Where's their leadership? Because you need a pinch of toxic masculinity like Trump to exude leadership, unfortunately. Back to you, Skip.
Pinch of toxic masculinity, I'm good with. I'm a man. You know.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Single Father's Day. Leo.
Listen, I don't hate Trump. I just hate a lot of the stuff he's doing right now. I
Well,
don't like
he
the.
said there's only two genders, Leo. Can we add that to the third thing Trump did good? That there's only boys and there's only girls. There should only be a boys' bathroom and a girl bathroom. Isn't that the third thing that he did good that you think, Leo?
I'm not going to get involved with gender
Oh
conversations.
man.
I don't want
That's
my
my Trump and
daughter.
Ray's friend, Chinwei.
I don't want my daughter having to go to the bathroom with a grown man because he identifies as a girl.
Whoops. You can be whatever you want to be in America. That's how I was raised.
You can be whatever you want to be. Keep your behind out of the woman's bathroom if you're a man. If you was born a man, you don't belong in the woman's bathroom. If you
Yes.
don't like it, punch me in the face.
And
Go
and then
Try it.
if your little daughter goes to when she wants to play, let's say lacrosse, you don't want your little daughter playing lacrosse against a boy. Now, do you, Leo?
I
And
absolutely do not.
lacrosse, and that
But
way
I
she
think
like,
that, but if I was going to weigh that against everybody losing their Medicaid, I would put that on the back burner for now. But I hate the fact Democrats support that. Hate it with a passion. Hate it. Hate it. So it appears that I was right. Elon is backing down from Trump. Trump's a monster. Can't go up against Trump. Like, you put your money up. We got you for your bread. We don't need you no more. And he's being sued by Wisconsin for election interference because he tried to bribe voters. He's being sued for it right now. That's not me saying it. That's not debatable. I'm not alleging anything. I'm reporting the news. He's being sued.
okay.
That's what's happening. And it has come out that that shiner he had on his eye was might not have been done by a 5-year-old. Big shock, right? I know. Once again,
This
I
is why
can.
sharing the screen helps you out, Leo, with your point. Because even I back then, and I was wrong. I have no problem saying I was wrong. I just went with what I
Oh,
heard.
you really believe that? I thought you was just BSing.
No,
You
no,
really believe that?
I believe. No, no. The thing
You
is,
lying, yo. You fell for that? Oh,
the thing
bro.
is, I once again I took it at face value, and because in our realm that's not a priority to discuss. Policies are a priority. These
I
wars are
respect
something
that.
up here
I
but that's just
respect that.
frivolous. That's just Trump trolling and whatever the case may be. That's not really something that we should be feeding into, paying attention to. But again, the report came out with his shiner. He said, "quote This having rough housing with my son or something like that." No, that sounds plausible. Let's keep moving. But no, they're lying. We got to fact check them. That can't be true. We got to make sure him and Trump are at odds. Oh, yes, look, it was Scott Bassett. Boom, boom, boom. I didn't even hear that noise because in this side realm, we don't watch the fake news. We may dissect it and analyze the lies and point here and there, but we have our own independent news sources amongst ourselves and look in other areas. So this was a blind spot because I don't pay attention to those things. I'm sorry, guys, but I was wrong. I just took what the man said at face value. It seemed plausible at the time. That was it.
I'm not going to go into deep into an article. I'll just give a quick overview. Yeah, tech mogul government, and I don't know who this is. Oh, CNN. With U.S. Treasury, Scott Bessent, government brawls with U.S. Treasury, $1 billion breakup. Does the video prove Elon Musk was high in front of Trump? We know he was high in front of Trump. That's silly. A bunch of things about their shouting match. I mean, like you said, it's a very little importance, but it did happen without question.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
It did. He punched him in the face. He probably deserved it. I mean, he probably did something to deserve it. I mean, have you ever been around a junkie?
Yes.
He probably did something that deserved it. I mean, I'm not endorsing violence. I am, however, saying that under certain circumstances, I can see where it might have occurred.
Anything's possible.
I could see, where, Elon Musk might have invited someone to want to physically accost him. That big bad bill, by the way, that's still sitting in the Senate,
Yes.
only got past the House with one vote after Donald Trump intervened and one person changed his vote and four people backed down. The 5 Republicans that wouldn't vote on it when he went in the next day, one changed their vote and 4 wouldn't vote. It got past the House. And now they're like, well, we didn't really want that in the bill. So since y'all got it, would y'all mind taking it out? They're trying to get the Senate to do their dirty work for them because they were so scared of Trump. It's disgusting.
What do the Democrat senators have to say about this? What do the Democrat members of the House have to say about this? What does the leader Jeffrey say about this?
Well, what they said
what does
was,
Chuck
what
Schumer
changed
say
in the
about
bill
this?
that makes you think it's going to pass today that it didn't yesterday? And it was a big argument. And the Republicans was like, oh, we just changed just enough. And the Democrats was like, so what changed? And the Republicans was like, we changed enough. And the Democrats was like, well, if you made a change, don't you think we should know about it before we vote? And it was like, nah, we ain't got to talk about it. And the Democrats was like, and I watched this. This literally happened. It was crazy. And the Democrats was like, they quoted some law where they had to say it. And the Republicans was like, we didn't change anything. Let's vote. And then the outcome was they won by one vote, even though nothing changed. And that was after.
What are the proposed amendments that the Democrat electeds wanted to put in the big beautiful bill? What do they have a problem with? We know
It failed. The Democrats didn't have anything to put in it. It failed. Trump went in and talked, and then the Republicans passed it without changing anything.
Well, guess
Trump
what?
passed the bill.
Guess what? Again, during this whole scenario, who has the most? No, who has the least public trust? The Democrats.
Not anymore. I mean, we
Don't know about
talked about the big parade. I don't think as many people showed up to that parade. Even though people showed up, I don't think it was anything like the 2,100 protests that went on against the king or the person that is attempting to become king in America, the No Kings protests.
But guess what? No matter what, the Democrats' approval ratings are still below President Trump and the Republicans. So obviously they're doing something right.
I don't know that that's the case anymore.
The media's not going to report that. No, pull it up. I think you should. That one guy from CNN that does the data polling analysis, this guy should be given the Pulitzer because he's very balanced, this guy. This young white boy.
Balance means he favors Trump, for those that you
No, he
don't know.
shows the numbers. He said, these are the numbers, but here where they were in 2020, here they were in 2016. This is that. People thought they would be here, but they're actually here. That's it. I got to find this guy's name because he's very good on CNN. Scott Jennings and this one guy. Let's see.
Well, things are so bad, even though Donald Trump says he wasn't involved, that Iran is now talking about striking U.S. military bases in retaliation for the strike. And the dome that's over Israel that was supposed to protect them from getting hit with missiles hasn't been quite so successful as Israel is getting pummeled with missiles. It's not a one-sided war as everyone thought it would be. And the U.S. military bases are now under threat of attack, with Gaza being attacked. And it appears that the Muslim world, China and Russia, backing up the Muslims, it seems that we're on the brink of World War III, as Donald Trump put it.
Sounds about right. But remember, like I said early in the show, President Trump and Secretary Rubio put out statements immediately saying, hey,
Rubio said at first that the United States had nothing to do with it. Donald Trump contradicted him at first and said that he was basically the mastermind of it. And then he changed his story later because he's Donald Trump. He tacoed out.
Yeah, well, the point remains: the Secretary of State and the President of the United States, regardless of anything, has expressed to the world that listen, the United States of America had nothing to do with this, and don't attack us. That's simple. That's a lot.
I think it's more along the lines of
Israel. Huh?
It seems to me it's closer to what his normal stature is. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And then somebody flexes. Oh, yo, chill. I believe it's
again. That's why I said
chickens out.
Again, like I said on other episodes, Trump hasn't been in a military situation like this ever, and he's not going to be good at it. Just like other international things, but this is something dangerous that he has tried to prevent at all costs. Than his first 4 years,
he took credit for it. We were literally they were supposed to talk peacefully today. It was on the calendar for today, for June 15th. It was on the calendar to talk to them peacefully about this nuclear thing, and Israel attacked, and it appears the United States had everything to do with it, and the rest of the world seems to think so did Britain and France. That's what's going on. That is the current state of affairs.
In a historical perspective, none of these things happened during the previous administration of Donald Trump. All this stems from the Joe Biden administration. Those are the facts. And another thing is this.
Iran did not stem from the Biden administration. There's no way you can link Iran to Biden.
October situation with Israel happened under Biden. Under Trump again.
October.
Remember,
has nothing to do with Iran.
Yes, it does. Because that's when Israel was attacked. Remember that? By Hamas?
Not by Iran.
No. This is all predicated of that one incident.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with it at all.
Yes,
they were attacking them about the nuclear weapons. Maybe you want to make this story something different.
Israel
listen to this. That's what Iran said. That's what Israel said. That's what the United States said. That's what Russia said. That's what China said. That's what Britain said. That's what France said. So you can make it what you want, but every country in the world is saying it's about the nuclear weapons.
Okay, listen. I'm talking about Israel and its military conflicts. The military conflicts with Israel is when it was attacked under the Biden administration by Hamas. Once that happened, Israel started going a little bit crazy and just retaliated and kept pushing forward. Didn't stop. And then now, some could argue, has gotten even more aggressive and proactive and attacked Iran. However, during the first Trump administration, President Trump from the United States officially made Jerusalem the capital city of Israel, another country.
Some might argue that's when all this started.
They all thought World War III was going to happen that same day. The clouds would part and Jesus the Christ himself would come down and settle everything.
Maybe it wasn't the same day, but it is happening, and that might have been a big trigger in that happening.
Russia was our friends. North Korea, another dictator that's evil, was our friends. Trump was very good at keeping the
peace. Trump is friendly with dictators.
He was good at keeping peace. That's great because we're talking, Leo. We don't have to always be at odds.
Well, actually, Russia's behind Iran.
Well,
and the United States is behind Israel. So in actuality, we're on opposite ends of a hot war.
Right. And guess what? The United States is trying to stay out of it and try to maintain peace regardless. We're not sending any weapons of troops. We're pulling people out.
We're not sending any weapons of troops. Is that what's going on? I don't know. Let's take a look at that. Is the U.S. sending troops to Israel? Let me finish typing it.
We're using Google. I'm gonna use shout out to Microsoft Bing.
Please,
guys. And the guy's name is Harry Enton. Harry Enton. Shout out to him. CNN data analysis, fair and unbiased, which is great.
So while you're doing that, I will share on my end where it says, yes, the U.S. is sending a THAAD, I don't know what that is, air defense system, approximately 100 troops to operate in Israel. The deployment is intended to bolster Israel's defense against potential missile attacks, particularly from Iran. The decision comes after recent missile attacks from Iran against Israel and underscores the U.S. commitment to Israel's security. THAAD, troop deployment, reason for deployment, previous deployment, broader. So yes, we are sending troops and supplies to Israel. We are on the opposite side of a hot war with Russia and China. We are now at the brink of World War III under President Donald Trump.
Okay. So what is okay, I was just looking at my screen for a second. Can you share your screen already? Because I missed that.
The answer is yes.
Okay, well, I just need to see the date of that situation because now I'm on Microsoft Bing and I'm going to put that past week. Let's see. Okay, the Pentagon is moving two destroyers toward Eastern Mediterranean as braces for a retaliatory attack.
So yes. Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. You can keep going, but you just said yes. It's all I heard. Okay, say it, Dion. It's okay. Yes.
All right, the answer is yes. But again, this president does not want war. So,
But we're gonna send our troops into a hot war in opposition to Russia and China, ladies and gentlemen. China, who's giving strict warning, Russia, who's calling for war crimes and wants Netanyahu to answer for war crimes. Huh. Trump is bringing us into World War III. He said so himself. This could be the beginning of World War III. That is Trump's exact words. Do I have to pull that up, or do you know that already?
well, we all know this, Leo. Israel has
So
been
Trump is
Israel
leading us into World
before,
War III.
during, and after Trump. That's a fact.
Say that again?
Israel is going to be Israel before, during, and after Trump. This stems something larger. This is bigger than Nino Brown. I mean, President Trump. So in the meantime, we got to pray that.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying this.
Israel's not been around. Israel was made in the 1950s. It was helped put there by the United States.
I'm talking about
Israel ain't gonna be there forever. Israel just got there.
No, I'm just saying Israel and its conflicts in the Middle East. This scenario has been echoing
The United States helped them establish, and now they're over there trying to wipe out everybody with color in their skin.
Yeah, but now everybody's blaming Donald Trump like it's a new thing.
Donald Trump is over there like trying to build Trump Plaza on top of a genocide. He's supporting Israel attacking yet another brown nation. Maybe there's a reason for it. He's pulling up fake graveyards in South America so they have a reason to attack South America. Maybe there's a reason for it.
Maybe again we should support our commander in chief to do the best.
Yes, blindly follow your leader because some people need a white man to follow. I'm not one of them people.
Make sure that we don't lose any troops and make sure all of our citizens and our embassies in those areas are protected. And that's what we should pray for. Everybody else can just have each other, in my opinion. But again, our president's going to do his best to make sure we stay out of a military conflict because he's not about that life. And I said that before. He doesn't have the experience or, know how to deal with these military situations. All he knows how to do is cut deals, Leo. And that's what he's good at.
That is what he does, but he's not doing a very good job. He hasn't cut one deal. He hasn't cut not one tariff deal. Not one. How many countries are on this planet? He couldn't cut a single deal? Really? Yo, I don't want him negotiating for me. Shit. He's the worst deal maker in the world. He couldn't make one. You could have made a deal, Dion. Damn. Not one? Not one deal. Not one. Zero. He's zero for like 100. How many countries did he try and cut deals with? Zero for like 200? My daughter can hit a jump shot from the 3. She's 8. If you give her 200 tries, not one deal, not one. I can go on. He didn't broker nothing with Ukraine and Russia. He didn't broker nothing with Gaza and Israel. He was working with trying to talk Iran out of nuclear weapons, and now Iran and Israel are bombing each other. He's the worst negotiator on the face of the earth.
Again,
objectively speaking.
Doesn't sound that way. But during his first administration, he seems as though he was a good negotiator. But after he left in 2020, not an insurrectionist, and came back in 2025, he has a situation that he has to get us out of. Whereas before, he was just coasting with global peace for 4 years. We want to get back to that. So if Russia, Putin, and China, everybody else can be buddy and friends, and we cut some deals, I'm happy. In the meantime, Israel, these people over there deserve each other.
I don't think any of what you just said is happening, though. That's
No,
the
no,
problem.
that's
Everything
what
that you
we.
said would be wonderful. If he was doing that, I'd support him. But I'm not blindly following a leader off a cliff. Like, I'm not a lemon.
Well, what is he doing that's going to get us over the cliff, Leo?
Sending troops to Israel.
Okay.
Walking into World War III.
So what would you like to
Attacking
see?
American citizens.
You're not
Complete
attacking American
domination of
citizens.
authoritarianism.
Those are words we don't use in the streets anymore, Leo. Authoritative, hierarchy. You
You don't
guys are
have to
so
use them in the
disconnected.
street. Somebody with common sense knows what they're looking at.
The fact is this.
Because you don't want to use the word doesn't mean it's not true. The term
Well,
means he's trying to rule everybody and it's not be a democracy anymore, and he's trying to control us with the military. And you can't say he's not trying to control us with the military because people want to protest, and what does he want to do? He wants to send the military after them. There's a word for that. We call it in the educated forum, Mr. MPA, authoritarianism.
well, we call propaganda the fourth branch of government, which is the media and the
That was good.
mainstream
Hold up.
media.
Props. That was great.
Yes, Dion. It's all about
That
product
was
placement
good.
and branding. We, the viewer, are seeing through the real warfare of intelligence and critical thinking and mass control of mindsets, which is the media, the most dangerous form. And everything that you and the rest of the gang saying about the president not working anymore. Guess what? In all these peaceful protests, there weren't many black people. And you know what? They're mad because the black people that we so care about, that's the face of DEI, even though we don't get much from DEI, why aren't they out there peaceful protesting? And guess what? We're supposed to be the reason that Donald Trump won. But in actuality, it was Latinos and other brown people, not the black, the brown people that voted for Trump in mass and made him win. So once again, like all things Israel and Palestine, I'm gonna mind my black business, and so should you.
So here's the way I see it. I have a completely different outlook.
Of
What I
course.
call that is a brilliant tactic of divide and conquer. Separate the blacks and browns, beat up on the browns, then go after the blacks. You can't take them all
You
at
see,
one
Leo,
time.
Leo, see, that would be true if an
Would
outside
be.
force, that would be true if an outside force divided and conquered us. Whereas now it's more internal, organically, us separating ourselves with our own intelligence, our own platforms like this, our own services say, hey, we're not doing it. There's something called Black Fatigue, a new reboot version where it's like people who hate Donald Trump are just exhausted and fed up that they're being exploited. These things aren't working. Let these people have each other. Let's just do a black thing over here.
Except for the fact that right now we're about to be in World War III, and you have to worry about the military being, you worry about the Marines stopping you in the street because that is a.
But guess what, Leo? Guess what? Here in New York City, because all politics is local, right? Here in New York City, our governor still has our National Guard in the subway system. Why are the National Guard still in our subways, Governor Kathy Hochul? Why don't we ask those local questions about the Democrat-controlled sanctuary cities in which they have the National Guard there as well? Isn't that interesting? But
Wow,
Donald
National
Trump
Guard.
wasn't there.
When did the National Guard arrive there? You said still. When? How long have they been there? When did they get there? I remember they was there in
Let's see.
2001.
Let's see. It says that. When was the National
You
Guard?
live there. I don't need Google. You
I don't
tell
know.
me when you
It's been a
saw this.
while. So when has the National Guard been deployed in New York City?
Word. That's a good question. I don't know.
Let's see. All right. The National Guard has been deployed in New York City to help riders feel safe after a spike in transit crime. Ah,
The
yes.
reason that they were
Here it
deployed
is.
is the reason that they were put
March
together.
6, 2024. The National Guard, Leo, again, Sanctuary Blue City controls supermajority Democrats, has been deployed to help riders feel safe after a spike in transit crime. Even
So,
me, I find that hard to
they're
believe.
for.
No,
That
no,
is
no,
what
no, 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 no,
that's
no,
what
no,
they're meant
no.
to be used for.
The
Wow.
military is supposed to be used to keep people safe in New York City subways. Is it that bad?
That's why the government.
It's Donald Trump's fault. It's that Donald Trump. It's his fault. He's about
That
to
is
go crazy.
why that is why the governor has control over the National Guard, not the president, because that is what they're used for. not the reason not the reason Trump's using them to keep the people
The
safe,
point
not to use
is,
against the
the
people,
cities are supposed to
to
be
help
safe
the
enough.
people.
No. The cities and their crime rates are supposed to be at a level in which the local law enforcement agencies should be able to handle it.
And when they can't,
That
that's what
takes
the
out of
National Guard is for. That is the
if it
entire
is.
reason for them.
So you mean to tell us that the New York City subway system is so bad that in March 2024 to present, it needs National Guard presence? Does that make sense, Leo? Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't make sense, and it
It
shouldn't be
doesn't make
that way.
sense that it's Donald Trump's fault.
But
No.
if it
But it's
is that
Donald Trump's
bad,
fault.
but if it is that bad, that's what they're there for. That is the reason for their existence. If it's that bad, then you call in the heavier troops, but you do not send in the Marines. And that is up to the governor's discretion. If crime is that high, then yeah, you need to do something about it. Make your citizens safe, absolutely. But you don't call in the National Guard to fight people for practicing their First Amendment rights.
But jumping the
That's crazy.
turnstile. Exactly. For jumping the turnstile. Thank you, Leo.
No. Jumping the turnstile is not what you said. You said the crime rate was so high.
That's the reason they're giving us, which we don't believe, but still, that's what they're giving
Oh,
us.
word. So people wasn't getting slashed in the subways. People weren't getting robbed.
Hey, you ever heard
Huh?
something? Have you ever heard of defund the
Where was that
police?
happening?
You heard about defund the police, right? And how the police hands are tied? Maybe that's why they can't do their job, that they need to outsource to the National Guard. Maybe that's why it's going on. But either way, that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. And that's the point I'm trying to make. It's a
I
Democratic
agree. It has nothing to
coup.
do with Donald Trump. They were making people safer. That's a good thing. So, what did we miss? There was something that I wanted to bring up and I missed. Support for parade. Oh man, I should have been. We went off this list. We went off, and now I'm trying to go
Like,
back
you
and
get
get
passionate.
everything. All right, I'm just going to continue where we was at. If it's that important, it'll come back up. So, one of the big things that the House seems to hate about the big bad bill is the AI provision. Apparently, the states will have no say so over the AI. So they're calling on their senator colleagues to do something about that.
Good. Just like nationwide legalization of marijuana, just like nationwide legalization of online gambling. Makes sense to me.
Okay. Well, I'll go for that.
Donald Trump, though, Donald Trump, he might be hiding under your bed.
AI should the people in the state should be able to make some rules over AI. You know, I don't, So the AR ban, the AR-15 ban is not in effect. People could buy AR-15s. I don't know what that means for Puffy, who had a bunch of them, but I reported on that.
2A, everybody. Excuse me while I whip this out. Constitution, my friend.
Well, we're
Constitution.
not supposed to be able to carry military grade weapons,
What
right?
the Constitution say about that? You like first free speech, don't you? Why can't we go to Constitution now?
Okay, what does it say?
Okay. Amendment number 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. New York State, with your gun laws. That's what it says here, and that's a fact.
But its application to military weapons is the subject of ongoing debate and legal interpretation. The Second Amendment states that a well-regulated militia is necessary for the security of a free state, and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. However, the Supreme Court has clarified that this right is not unlimited and does not extend to all weapons, particularly those that are not typically possessed by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes, i.e., for example, military-grade weapons. So while the Constitution is the law, the Supreme Court makes decisions on how they feel that law will be interpreted. And according to what the Supreme Court looked at this thing and saw, what they said was It is my opinion, remember that magic word, opinion, that this does not apply to military grade weapons, which an AR-15 is. I don't think they're going to win that battle.
Just like abortion, the Supreme Court is like it's not codified in a law constitution where you kill your baby at 9 months. Thank you, Leo. Keep moving.
You seem to like this talk about dying babies.
That's right, because the Democrat team is obsessed with abortion, and I love it too. And I want to make sure these guys get their abortions every day, all day. Yeah, abortion. Yeah. You don't like that word now? Wait a minute. We're not talking about abortion anymore. You were trying to scare us last time about they were coming for our reproductive rights. What happened to reproductive rights?
Oh, that's in the bill. That's in the big bad bill. That's in there. That's absolutely in there where they're trying to close down abortion clinics. That's in there. And there's just so much other bad stuff going on. I can't talk about everything at one time, but they are absolutely trying to make sure to defund abortion clinics and ability to. It's
and
in
black
that big
women are
bad bill.
still
It's
the
in
number one to
there.
have the abortions. Black women are still the number one in single motherhood. Black women are still number one in infant mortality rates. But wait a minute, Planned Parenthood, do infant mortality rates and abortion, do those two things coincide for some scientific biological reason? Of course not. Planned Parenthood is not going to give us that data or case study because that would destroy the Margaret Thrash Sanger operation of making money of killing our own babies. Those are facts.
Those are not facts. You have not shown anything to make that a fact. You've given your opinion.
Qualitative data, Leo. Without any, why I need charge? I can just lay out the facts for pinch of common sense. Watch this. It's common sense to
I can't take
assume
MAGA facts. You got to show me proof.
No, it's common sense that the most disappointed woman in the country, who? Black women. So once you say they will be number one that needed reproductive care, which are abortion, so I'm assuming that black women are the number ones to get abortions in this country. Number two, when it comes to single parents, what would be the number one poor disadvantaged demographic? The black woman, of course. And then number three, with reproductive care, who has the most problems with infant mortality rate? Number one would have to be black woman. Now, how about this one? The most educated, meaning who have degrees in the country, who? Black woman. So without showing you numbers, charts, diagrams, or figures, those are facts based on your interpretation of your own common sense and logic. Now, you could refute us if you like, but on the surface, that's what I synthesize. Happy Father's Day, by the way, especially for single dads or both mother and the father.
Non-Hispanic, Black, or African Americans have the highest infant mortality rate among racial and ethnic groups. That appears to be accurate.
What I have to ask Google, oh God, you know this.
I mean, because you give alternative facts quite often.
What alternative facts? That's a fact. There's no alternative facts. What about it?
About that, apparently not.
It's a fact based on logic, reasoning, and deducting your own truth from what's presented to you. If you're going to put in our face that the black woman is the most disrespected creature, if you're going to put in our face that they're so marginalized, disproportionate, blah, 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 then you can make the correlation that they do need reproductive rights, which is what? Abortion. So normally the number one person that needs to be serviced for abortion, reproductive rights, is the black woman. Now, number two, when it comes to healthcare, oh, that black woman, the mortality rates, we got to make sure we got those funding for the black woman. That means number two, black women should be number one in the infant mortality rates. Now, remember those single family homes? All the poor, disadvantaged black people who are producing these poor black people that's a single parent. It's black women. So without showing you diagrams on the grant application for the funding, you just have to assume those things have to be absolute, across the board, consistent.
You have not presented me an area in which I can put an argument. Everything you said, everything you said, I can't disagree with. I would need more data. I can't argue with anything you said.
The sky is blue and water's wet. Would you need some data for that too?
Listen, it is what it is.
That's right. Your mother, your grandmother, they don't have to be a doctor to determine that you're sick.
But I would not trust FDR to wipe my nose if I had a
RFK,
cold.
RFK Jr., Robert F.
Whatever his
Kennedy.
name is.
Let's get to the man. This man's knocking it down. Come on, give me something good about my man Kennedy.
I'm still mortified that he's trying to take away shots that save babies from getting pneumonia-like symptoms. I'm sick of him.
Do you want me to? You should put up the chart I showed in the last episode about how babies to infants are injected with so many shots that it could be construed as a bad thing. Why are they getting?
I can't argue that, but some of them shots are needed, and he's trying to put.
No,
just because you don't know what some of these things are.
I'll give you that. Let's say I give you that. Some of those shots are needed. Now, what's not needed, like Kennedy and our folks over here with Mahaga, is that the one word I keep harping on: mandatory. These things should not be mandatory or mandated by the government to you, the parent, to determine your child's health. You should have the option to have your baby vaccinated or inoculated or not. The doctor should be able to give you the alternatives and facts in front of you of your options. Do you want to have your baby underwater? Do you want to have your baby on the moon? Do you want to have that shot in the back, lady, to help numb the pain or not? But here are some alternatives to that since the beginning of time. What would you like? How do you take your eggs? Over easy or sunny side up? So that's the point. Mandatory. We're removing the word mandatory. We'll also say, hey, you know what? You should have some cod liver oil in your throat to keep you a little bit healthy. You know, here's some organic fruits and vegetables, not the fake ones that don't have any seeds, because if it doesn't have seeds, then it's not a fruit, technically. We're going to take all this stuff out. There's your options. Clean, proper hygiene. What do you want? Here it is. No, you are mandated. You must take this vaccine in order to do anything in life. Your baby must take the shot. We didn't know your baby might be adversely affected. It might cause autism, other ailments long term, but it's mandatory. And if it does happen, we're not liable. So again, can they remove the word mandatory from healthcare?
And then he's defunding it so that you won't be able to get it even if you want it, unless you can afford to pay for it. Because that's
he's
in the
taking out
bill.
Medicaid. He's taking out Medicaid.
It's in the big bad bill. He's
Oz?
defunding the CDC so that they're not going to be able to.
Good. They all lied about the Dr. Fauci ouchie. They're all in cahoots, making lots of money to this day. And there's a lot of vaccine injured people, a lot of people out of jobs and lost everything for not taking the Dr. Fauci ouchie. And that's my disclaimer. And that's why I support Kennedy. Besides the fact that I used to be retained by the PAC. American Values, 2024.
So on the opposite side, for those of us who actually happen to like science.
Your vaccines? Okay, you got that. But don't mandate it on me.
In order for vaccinations to work for the country, there's something called, some of you might remember this, herd immunity, which means that a certain number of the population has to have the immunity in order to be able to keep a disease in check. So if it's not mandated and not enough people take it, then even though some people are taking it, everybody still gets sick. That is the reason for the mandating. Now, I get that a lot of people don't believe in mandated shots. The reason, once again, though, is because if enough people don't have it, don't have herd immunity, everybody gets sick. And that's how it works. I know science is hard. Nobody likes it. They like the cute little stuff that the other side says.
Science for you. Here's more science for you that they don't want you to understand. Number one, there's always the asterisk for these medications, which is what? With proper diet and exercise. Whoa! Who wants to talk about that? Wait a minute. All these ailments, the number one disease in America is heart disease and obesity. Those are the epidemics Kenny's focusing on, as well as autism, an epidemic in our children. So you can't tell me that these vaccines are going to do much of anything when we have these other facts presented and our other options not being highlighted, like with proper diet and exercise. By diet, with SNAP nutrition, you must have real food. Take out all those dyes and fake stuff.
See, you're really good at that. You're doing the mesh words thing. You're mixing things together that one has nothing to do with the other. Proper diet and exercise will reduce heart disease. Has nothing to do with autism. We're focusing on the topic of the fact that he wants to remove inoculations from children. And you're talking about eating healthy. Infants can't eat healthy. They're going to drink milk. So the stuff you're talking about is irrelevant.
Their mother's breast milk, if she had proper diet and exercise, would help the infant? Are you sure about that?
It's milk.
Or do you want powdered milk from the government? Remember that, Leo?
It's milk.
Breast milk.
The baby's not doing push-ups in the morning.
Oh,
it's milk.
Milk,
They're going to sleep and
breast
cry.
milk, and cow milk are two different things with two different nutrients for babies, Leo.
They breastfeed. Babies breastfeed. It's milk. The stuff you're talking about, proper diet and exercise, blah, 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 has nothing to do with babies getting shots that's going to create herd immunity to stop diseases from spreading. Has nothing to do with it. You're mixing apples
I
and
get straight from the
oranges.
point. You're right, which is back to one simple concept: mandatory. We're taking that word out of the language for the CDC and all
You're
of the
you're defunding people to the point where they're not going to be able to take it even if they want it, because Kennedy came in saying this is going to be a problem. And like I said 4 months ago, he's going to find the problem regardless. He's not looking at science. He's already made his mind up. Once again, somehow I was right. I don't believe I could possibly be predicting the future. Is that not what happened? Is
Well,
that not what happened?
the way you're outlining things, he is shaking things up. From what you're
Did I
saying,
not tell you exactly what he was going to do? And did I even give you the timeline of June?
okay.
Did I tell you exactly what was going to
Right,
happen?
so Leo predicted the future, but again, the fact remains: this Kennedy guy on the train. Remember, Kennedy actually offered his services to Democrats, by the way, and but Trump said, "Let's talk about it," and here we are. So Trump is actually able to bring people together. Remember, Kennedy wasn't such a nut job before Trump. Elon wasn't such a nut job before Trump. So you can't
Well,
tell
now he's
me.
getting punched in the face and taking ketamine in the Oval Office. I mean, maybe Trump brings the crazy out of people, attacking citizens
Maybe it's the media that
with
wants you to believe that.
Marines,
It's the media that needs you to believe that.
starting World War,
Not
calling,
working
predicting
anymore.
that this is going to be World War, predicting this is going to be World War III. Do I need to prove that to you?
No.
Uh,
But for your viewers, I'm sure they support my statement, which is removing the word mandatory when it comes to vaccines.
Maybe they do. Maybe they want it. Maybe they want there to be enough immunity that their children will be safe in schools and not coming, and their babies won't get RSV, because he wants to take RSV out of the chart. He wants to defund it so there's no RSV vaccinations.
And no
And I know you don't
hepatitis
really
B.
understand what that means.
And no hepatitis B vaccine in babies, which was designed for prostitutes because of
RSV was not designed for
I said
prostitutes.
hepatitis B. I said no hepatitis
Oh,
B vaccine in the babies. I showed you in the chart previously because hepatitis B vaccines were designed because of excessive STDs from prostitution back in the day. So why are you giving this shot? He just wants to ask questions. That's number two. No
that's
mandatory
not what he's
and question
doing. That
everything.
is not what he's
So,
doing. That is
so
not.
right
He's already
now,
defunding it. What are you
question
talking about?
everything. Question everything.
He's not questioning anything. He's doing what he intended on doing when he got there, which is taking away the vaccinations. He's defunding it so that you can't get them. That's what he's doing.
Just like education, hashtag school choice, you have to have the option. You can't go in Tennessee and have an abortion. Again, I'm evil. At 7 months, you have to be flown in through a nonprofit to New York to get that abortion. So that's basically back to the States. The same thing with your damn vaccine. Good luck.
Well, you're nonchalant about killing babies. I get it. That's who you have to be MAGA. You're
Shout out to
nonchalant about killing
Keyway. Love
babies.
you. Thank you for supporting me. Yeah, my friend is TDS. So she's leaving now.
Thanks for coming.
She said, I'm
We
doing
and Dion happen to be
it.
friends. We give it up like this. We're actually boys. We don't actually ever argue off set. Ever. We've not had one argument. But this is like, we can present both sides and it'd be great for the camera and be true to who we are, which is actually awesome. I like to be able to talk honestly and not have bad feelings. Do this as solid as they come. I could talk a lot about good stuff about them. I don't want to talk too good and make it sound like we're faking though. Trump's Joint Chief of Staff, Joint Chief Chairs says Putin won't stop at Ukraine. Oh, his chief chair says Trump's chief chair says he won't stop at Ukraine. Trump's people don't think that Putin is going to just give up the ghost. They think he's going to keep going after Ukraine. That's Trump's people. These are his cabinet members. How do you look at that dividing belief amongst even his closest allies?
Well, it's a healthy debate that's spilled out into the public. That's the way I see it.
Uh, well, I mean, I think everybody at this point realizes that Putin never really intended on stopping. If he did, he would have.
Well,
Ukraine
guess
is now
what?
hitting back.
You as a veteran should appreciate that wars are more complex than what we're led to believe.
This is actually pretty simple. He wants domination, kind of like Trump, kind of
Why?
like any world leader.
What is the historical context of Russia always having to be our enemy? What is
I didn't
NATO?
say anything about being the enemy. I said he wants domination.
Whoa, okay.
And
Some
right now, he is the enemy. If Russia is supporting Ukraine and the United States is sending troops to Israel, we are enemies in a hot war. We have not been enemies with Russia in a hot war since World War One. For the record,
well, guess what?
thank you, Trump. You did it.
Thank you, Trump, because for your first term, we didn't have these problems that were started under the Biden administration.
Iran was attacked by Israel because of a problem in disbelief of the nuclear arms deal that Trump couldn't negotiate after pulling us out of the one in his first term in office in 2018. That's the facts.
No,
He
no,
pulled
no,
us out
no,
of
no.
Obama's nuclear. You want me to
Listen,
look it up? You
Leo,
want me to show it? Do I have to
the
show it? I can show it.
military conflict, just like Russia had the battery on its back once it attacked Ukraine, and you can't stop that fight because the battery's there back. The battery in Israel's back to make these military conflicts happen started in that October when Hamas attacked them. Now they amped up, that the adrenaline's pumping and people are dying and guns are blazing. They're not stopping. It's hard to de-escalate this. So Israel and Russia are in the same position where people have been dying on our side, but we can't stop. That's why wars are very complex. And that's why we lost Vietnam and Korea. But our history books won't tell it. Don't you agree?
In 2018, the Trump administration withdrew the United States from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal. This agreement, initially reached in 2015 between Iran, the U.S., and several other world powers, placed limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for lifting of international sanctions. He withdrew us from Iran's nuclear arm deal in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And now, being he wasn't able to reestablish one, Israel attacked Iran. How is Biden involved with that again?
Well, guess what? Just like when certain things expire, it was up to the Biden
He did
administration.
not expire. He pulled us out.
All right, but Biden should have created something else in place. Don't you agree?
He
And
didn't have to. He kept Iran in check. They didn't get out of check till Trump got in office. Like you like to say of him in Gaza, that's what happened with Trump and Iran. Like you like to say of him in Ukraine and Russia, that's what happened with Trump and Iran.
well, the fact remains is this. On the Trump's first administration, he moved the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. And people predicted and they hoped and prayed that all hell would break loose. It did not. But now, again, my timeline for military conflict started when Hamas attacked Israel. And now Israel is amped up for war. And then again, when Russia attacked Ukraine, now Russia is amped up for war. And it's hard to de escalate these things. President Trump.
Iran has nothing to do with any of that. Israel just flat out attacked its neighbor.
Right, exactly. Because they feel
because they attacked their neighbor. There's nothing to do with Gaza. Nothing to do with Gaza. They just attacked them.
right.
And their reason for attacking was because they wanted to. Hold up. Let's see. Let's not let it come from me. Let's see why they attacked. I want to know these things. Let's understand. Why did Israel attack? Oh, Iran. Oh, my typing is really far off today. Microphone's in the way. Why did Israel attack Iran? Uh, it's not giving me an AI answer.
Isn't that scary? That means the internet is compromised, don't you think?
Okay, well, that's close to an answer. So I'm gonna get, I suppose. Uh, So the real reason Israel
Sure.
attacked Iran, the Israel government claims that the strike was a preventive one meant to address an immediate inevitable threat on Iran's part. Israel sees Iran as an existential threat. Israel has accused Iran of harboring genocidal intentions, while Iran has accused Israel of conducting a genocide in Gaza. Consequently, Israel has sought sanctions and military action against Iran to stop it from acquiring nuclear weapons. It's about the nuclear arms deal that they got pulled out of that the United States is actually supposed to be negotiating with them today. But instead of negotiating today, Israel said, we're just going to bomb them.
Again, the president and Rubio have made it very clear we had nothing to do
They're
with
sending
this.
troops.
Well, we had it not, well, again, we had nothing to do with this. Please don't attack our people, period.
How are you going to say in one breath, please, we have nothing to do with this? Why are you sending troops? Huh?
Remember, we still have our people and our citizens in that area. So
Well,
it
if
is
you
our
don't want your
ally.
people attacked, well, how you gonna tell me I'm gonna punch you in the face and don't move? You are sending troops. You are entering into this hot war.
That's
We
just
are at
Israel being
war.
Israel. That's just Israel being Israel.
No, no, I'm talking about the United States sending
I
troops.
understand that, yes. But that just shows
The
it
United
shows
States,
our
Trump
government.
has just entered us into a hot war, saying that it might be, while saying it might be the beginning of World War III. That is what happened last week. That's where we stand. And then instead of addressing it at the 250th anniversary of our military, he didn't even talk about it.
If he did, I'm sure you find a way to make him look silly.
Only if he said something the only thing he said was we'd be walking into world with this could be World War III.
Oh boy, here we
And
go.
that's what he said. What do you want me to say to that?
Well, you could
What
say,
do what
you
do
could
you
say,
say to that?
you could say, well, thanks to his 250th anniversary, we could be resting and secure. We have a president that supports our military, which we'll need to protect us in case there is a World War III. Is that simple? Isn't that interesting how we could connect those two together? Military protection now that we need to be protected and be on defense, not the offense.
Or maybe it could be interpreted as the reality, objectively, perhaps the military was being built up because this was planned. Gee,
It's possible. Anything's possible. But that's
it's
not
kind of what I said to you 4 months
that
ago,
that's not what the media is telling us, Leo.
but
So
it's what I predicted 4 months ago. So maybe the fact that all of the stars are aligning, maybe critical thinking, deductive reasoning, common sense led me to see what the media did not want to tell us.
well, see what the media doesn't tell us that President Trump is doing right.
Well, some of the MAGA people want war. They feel like this is going to show who's really for the United
Right.
States.
Remember, there's the America First folks, and there's a pro-Israel folks. So there's divide. Just like on the blue team with this Israel stuff, there's a divide. So that's healthy, and that shows you that it's not a cult, Leo, like you've been alluding to.
I'm grateful that some MAGA people are coming out and saying they don't want World War III. I'm really grateful for
That's
that.
me.
I'm happy to hear that because this is bad. We're in a very bad place. American citizens are getting attacked by Marines, and we're getting ready to go walk into World War III.
None of which can you really point the finger at President Donald Trump? Either way,
Sending Marines in against
either that
Americans
way.
and sending military into
Guess
Israel.
what? The
Yes, I
American people,
absolutely can't point the
the
finger at anybody
American
else.
people, if they had to vote again today, I think they still would vote for Uncle Trump as opposed to Kamala Harris to deal with this kind of scenario.
I give the American people more credit than that. I absolutely don't believe that that's possible. But then
And
again, people
with
followed Hitler.
all that we know, Leo, remember, with all that we know now, if the race was held again today, you're telling us that this black woman would win against Uncle Trump?
I would hope so.
I would pray and hope not, because so for me, the country dodged a bullet. Some argue a missile if that lady would have won. Because
Now
remember,
we're gonna get hit with a bunch of them because Trump did.
guess what? Under her tenure as the border czar, imagine what her tenure will be like at the president of the United States. And then they'll tell us in the future.
Is any of it as bad as? Can it possibly be worse than World War III? What could possibly be worse than World War III? What can be?
Having
Please tell me
having
what can be
having
worse.
a bad leader like her or Biden behind the wheel of the United States of America. That's
And with
what we
that,
get.
I'm done. I heard it all. Thank you. I guess we'll reconvene on Wednesday. I have nothing left on that because that is wild. She is worse than World War III, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
no, they have her in charge in a hot war scenario like this.
We
Yes,
wouldn't be in a hot war scenario if it wasn't for
we
Trump.
were when she was there with
We
Biden.
was not in World War III.
We were escalating it with Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Hamas. All that started under her administration with Biden. But he wasn't running the country in the first place. But President Trump's team's going to figure out who was running the country if Joe Biden wasn't all there with the oil pin. But that's just conspiracy theory, right, Leo?
Right, like it is with Trump being 100% there at 79 years old, tripping upstairs like Biden was. So now him and Biden should be
Video.
resting in the same home.
I need to see some video because we all saw, even though the media says you didn't see, Biden tripping up the stairs. We all saw Biden's cognitive decline, whereas zoom in, F you, this is the best he's been, right, Chuck Scarborough? Yeah. So once again, the media needs to stop lying. Even if it does stop lying, viewership for ABC News is still in six figures, and that show is going to be pulled. Viewership for CNN and MSDNC, six figures and going lower. Maybe five figures soon. Our eyeballs, our belief, our trust is not on that, which is good.
Hmm.
Well, we're about to get to our second hour. Hopefully, we still have some eyeballs.
No, we're about to be out.
There's nobody.
Here we go. Hey. Stretching, you know? That's stretching. Not compared to the Joe Biden trip up the stairs.
But definitely
Okay,
something
let's
wrong.
focus on that. Play it on loop, Leo. You got played on loop.
Now, there's definitely I can't even joke about it. Something's wrong.
You
Like, for
want
real.
something to be wrong. You project. You need something to be wrong with Trump, right? To put
No.
the build the public
No.
distrust.
I mean,
Shout out to Aunt Debbie for this birthday card. Who's watching the show too, by the way.
well, hello to Aunt Debbie. All right, we're going to wrap it up. It's been 2 hours. Thank you for coming, Dion. I'm going to drop a link in the description. Would you like to tell people how they can find you?
Dion at nyconsultant.us. That's Dion at nyconsultant.singular.us. Right now, I'm putting my time, effort, and energy trying to sell the people's data, just like every other agency. And names, addresses, telephone numbers, all that stuff for your marketing agency. So that's what I'm working on now. Thank you.
Wow, we're at just about 15,000 subscribers. This is absolutely amazing. Thank everybody for all your
Chinwei
support.
is one of them, and she did it tonight.
Sorry?
Chinwei did it tonight.
Wow, I didn't see how many viewers we got left. I know we had over 900 at one point. I don't know how many we got left, but we're out of here. All right, thank you everybody for coming. Please like, share, subscribe. Please add to the descriptions, become a critical thinker with us. Like us, share, comment. Helps us get into the algorithm. We can have more conversations like this. Talk to us. Let us know what you think about some of these very serious circumstances. And I hope to see you next time. This is LC, and you want to tell Manu who you are?
Judicial leader Dion.